After spending a long time thinking about the routes I was going to take to test the most comfortable electric bike I've tried on this channel, I had to wait several days for the storm to pass and the weather to improve. But finally the weather changed, summer came back, and I achieved my goal, to go on a ride to properly test this Dodge C29Lite. Next, you'll see stunning landscapes from the saddle of this electric bike with very high comfort, outstanding range, and a pretty low price considering its features. In fact, it's the most affordable one from the brand and also one of the most successful. And after testing it for a few days, I'm starting to understand why. But as you can see, the unboxing is already underway and everything comes very well protected. What surprised me was that, despite the price, it includes so many accessories and truly has everything. The pedals, several devices to attach things, these wrenches, this for mounting the front wheel, obviously this couldn't be missing. It even comes with zip ties, which honestly has been quite useful for me, plus caps, etc. The manual is a downside in my opinion. It's quite brief and I'll explain why later. But it also comes with this cover, which I think is perfect, for example, for those who are going to use this bike, which I think really stands out in the city. That is, for urban use, for example, for jobs like delivery. It's an accessory that comes in very handy. But look at this wrench they include, which even on its own I think could be quite expensive. It's not bad at all. Obviously, it can be useful for you in the future, not just for this bike. But it also comes with a pump. In this case, it's quite small. It's a mini pump. You can take it anywhere. But the fact that they include it with this bike as well, it's a great touch. And in fact, it's the first electric bike I've tested on this channel that includes a pump. As for the battery, it's a bit smaller and especially lighter than other batteries I've also tested on this channel from other electric bikes. You'll see it connected later. However, as a downside, the instructions are very brief. They don't tell you the steps to follow, so I couldn't figure out how to install this light. I wish it had been a bit more like IKEA, where they show you step 1, step 2, step 3. I hope they update this and add a simpler manual. But anyway, since it came with cable ties, I was able to attach the front light, secure it with the ties, and honestly, it turned out pretty well. Later, I learned the light should go in front of the screw, but I'll fix that later. The first downside is the manual. On the plus side, the included accessories like the cable tie are very useful. For this light, the rear part, you can see that I put it here so that the cable going to the light can be tucked away better here. And now I'm taking you on a trip to some stunning landscapes with this Duotts C29Lite electric bike. The first thing that caught my attention the first time I rode it was how quiet it is. You can tell it's designed, for example, for delivery people. Let's say that's its main target audience. And especially for the city, with those slightly thinner tires. You'll see them later. Although I'm going to put it through some tough tests. I'll take it through water, mud, rocks, and so on. And even here, it works pretty well. Turning it on is simple, and the screen is clear and easy to see even in direct sunlight, though it's not a touchscreen. And that's something that surprised me because it's like a kind of clamp. In other words, you press it, as you can see. It has 3 speeds, and there's a secret 4th one that you'll see later. And you don't need to pedal for it to work. It's definitely the most comfortable, not just because of the seat, but also because of the wheels and how quiet it is. This Duotts, thanks to its ability to carry up to 25 extra kilos on the back, like by putting a box on it, makes it especially useful for carrying all kinds of things. Also, the materials are very solid. It's made entirely of metal, even the battery casing, as you'll see later. The handlebars, as you can see in these close-up shots, have very good grip. However, the brakes are too soft for me. I prefer them a bit firmer. Let's say you have to press really hard, squeeze the brake lever in a lot for it to stop properly. And in total, it weighs 27.8 kilos. These measurements are actually more suitable for cyclists between 1.70 and 2 meters tall, and the maximum load capacity is 150 kilos. This would obviously include the weight of the person riding the bike and the 25 kilos you can put on the back. In addition, the fenders, which I think are especially suitable for rain in the city, can be removed if, for example, you're going to be in the mountains, like in my case. But anyway, I decided to try it with the fenders on to test their durability. And speaking of durability, It has an IPX4 certification against dust and water, which makes it suitable, for example, for rain or even going through a puddle. You won't have any problems. Also, the battery is very well waterproofed. Therefore, while it's true that it's designed for the city and I would especially recommend it for that, like I mentioned before, I think it's best suited to delivery riders. Be aware that it's also very durable. I also really like the battery, which is very durable and made of stainless steel, like most of the bike. Take a look at this rubber tab. Obviously, it prevents water from getting in, and it comes with a couple of sets of keys so you can remove and install the battery. The truth is, it's very easy to handle and isn't too big or heavy, even though it's steel. I appreciate this because removing and charging it is much easier. Actually, I believe this is the first all-steel battery I've tested on this channel. Here, you can see the charger with that LED. When the battery is fully charged, it will turn green. And when it's charging a battery that's empty, it will turn red. It also has a warranty, so you shouldn't remove that seal. Specifically, the battery is 36 volts. The charging time is between 6 and 8 hours, and it can give you up to 65 kilometers in pedal assist mode, which is pretty good considering the weight and size of the battery. And it's certainly not the most powerful bike I've tested on this channel. Like I said, it's designed for a different type of person. It has a 36-volt, 250-watt motor. It can reach, as you know in Europe, a maximum speed of 25 kilometers per hour. It also has 43 Newton meters of torque. As for the transmission system, yes, it has a 7-speed Shimano gear system. It's quite fast when changing gears, but it's a bit noisy, especially on this bike, in 5th gear. The maximum climbing angle from what I've been able to test is about 30 degrees, although in my opinion it could use a bit more power. However, for riding on flat city roads, it would be absolutely perfect. And honestly, I appreciate how comfortable and quiet it is. I also like the pedals. They're all made of steel. Honestly, it has good edges, so they grip perfectly to any sole. Plus, they have reflective inserts, which helps with safety. I also really like the rear light. It's the first bike I've tried where the light turns on when you brake. And by the way, it's also very easy to turn on. You turn on the front light by holding the plus button on the screen, as you've seen, and the LED brightness is also quite good, both in the front and the back. And here is the real standout, I think, of this bike, and that's this seat. It's extremely comfortable for spending hours and hours on it. I think that its seat, along with the cargo area, is the most important thing about this bike. If you're one of those people who likes to sit comfortably on your bike and enjoy the scenery, you'll find this seat outstanding. As for the suspension, it has 85 millimeters of front suspension travel, but it's not adjustable. And as for the wheels, they're 27.5 inches, 1.65 inches wide, which is a little over 4 centimeters. Obviously, as I mentioned at the beginning, these are narrower, thinner wheels, mainly designed for the city. Even so, it has a pretty prominent tread, which is appreciated, and above all, I would recommend it not only for asphalt, but also, for example, for compact dirt, or even for trails. The front brake has a 160 millimeter disc brake, and the rear brake is exactly the same, with a 160 millimeter disc brake. Ultimately, where you're going to enjoy this Dodge C29Lite electric bike the most is on asphalt. Here in this video, you've been seeing it on pretty tough terrain, and I admit that it performed better than I expected. Maybe it's thanks to that comfortable saddle and the suspension, which, although it can't be adjusted, absorbs any irregularities in the terrain well. And now what is the 4th speed or driving mode it has? Well, as you can see, yes, if you hold down the down button, you keep it pressed, you can see that it helps you, for example, to go up slopes even if you're off the bike. It does this at about 5 or 6 kilometers per hour. You don't need to pedal. And the truth is, if you're carrying a heavy load and can't push the bike, it's a very useful option to help you transport it. And now, how much does this Dodge C29Lite electric bike cost? Well, as you can see, it used to cost 1,049 euros, and now it costs 759 euros. Also, there are some discounts. I'll leave the purchase link below in the video description. I really like the design, especially all the accessories it comes with, including the one to keep your phone well protected, for example, to use a GPS app. This is actually quite useful for delivery people. The design is nice, but it's also durable. Both fenders are made of stainless steel, as well as the cargo structure. Everything can be removed if you don't want it. I think it's a very positive addition, and as you saw at the beginning, it even includes the pump. That's something never seen before on this channel. You know, I hope you like this Dodge C29Lite. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. As always, I like to read everything you write. And you know the best way to help me is by subscribing if you haven't already, and leaving me a like so you can keep waiting for the storm to pass and try out these bikes in idyllic settings. And now that's it. See you in the next video. Take care and see you soon. End.